anxiety. Like I was so anxious that I didn't have a license. Like I didn't drive. I was like so scared of driving. I just thought I was going to get into an accident and die. And like, because I knew about God, I knew that if I died, I was going to hell. And so I had all of this fear of like, if I, like, and I remember as I was like sort of like hungry for the Lord, I guess, as I was sort of like just growing this weird desire for the Lord, I said to my sister, like, I just hope he's patient with me, and I hope I don't die, because if I would have died today, like I would literally be going to hell. He was patient with me, but yeah, so I continued to I just prayed that prayer, like, Lord, if you want me in church, you're going to get me there. Left it at that. And then my sister randomly was just like, Paige, like, I just like want to invite you to church. Like, do you want to come? And she'd never really invited me before because she knew where I was at. I was just like living my life. And I was like, okay, like, yeah, I'll come. But like, it was not easy for me. I was so petrified. I was shaking, like nervous. And then I went, and I was sat in the service, and I remember the lady that had preached that day, I can't remember what she preached about, but at the end, she said, if you don't know, like, whether you're going to go to hell if you were to die right now, and you don't want to go to hell, if you want to go to heaven, if you want to have a relationship with Jesus, like, tonight's the night that you need to give your life to the Lord. And I just knew, like, my heart was racing, and I was like, oh gosh, like, this is for me. And I raised my hand, and I was super embarrassed because it was in front of a really small church. My sister was there, her husband was there. They all knew the life I was living, and I just, like, there was just something in me that was like, no, you really need to give your life to the Lord, because I was so afraid of dying and just ending up in hell. I gave my life to the Lord, and then it wasn't long after that like COVID hit. And when COVID hit, like, something in seeing the world fall apart the way that it did, I had like this real hunger of like, okay, I really need to get my stuff together. Like, I can't be a lukewarm Christian if I'm giving my life to the Lord. And, you know, he says, yeah, like, he will spit the lukewarm Christians out of his mouth. And I knew about God, and how much worse am I going to be if I know about him, know of his good ways, and still choose to live the life that I want to live. And so I was filled with, like, what I would say is like the fear of the Lord. And I truly was like living in like reverence of him. And I was no longer like, oh, I can get away with this and I can get away with that. It's like, no, I want to completely like flee from sin. Like, I want no part in that life. And I stopped drinking, I stopped going clubbing, and I remember my friends who I was really, like, they were like my best friends. I worked with them 5 days a week, and I posted something on my Instagram story, sort of like fairly new into the walk. And it was just a pretty strong like opinion about like the Christian faith, and they all like saw that story and unfollowed me and like didn't want to be friends with me after that. And I remember it felt like my world was falling apart, because I was like, why is this happening? Like, why, you know, I'm giving my life to the Lord, and all of a sudden all these people are being taken from my life, my best friends, and they were the people I would constantly go drinking with. So at the time it just felt like, okay, like, I've lost everyone I'm close to. Like, I have no friends. And after that, like, I just remember like that moment brought me like into the secret place with the Lord, because I said, I've got no one. Like, I literally need you, Lord, because I don't have any friends. And I tried to explain myself to my friends, but it just wasn't the same. Like, they just were like, no, if you believe that, like, I don't want to be your friend. And I was like, okay, like, there's nothing I can do. I'm not going to go back on my ways now. I know that the Lord is real. I can't pretend like he's not. After that, like, I remember I prayed and prayed and prayed for like good godly connection, good godly friendship. And it just seemed like no one was there. No one was around me. I didn't have a church community that I was going to. So it was literally just me and the Lord in my room for like a year, just like praying on my knees, like asking the Lord for community. And I ended up like it was like tenfold what I had lost. Like the Lord literally replaced everyone that he had removed from my life with like double the portion of people, and they were all good, godly Christian people. And through removing those people from my life, I stopped having that temptation, I guess, of like going out and drinking, because the Lord was like, no, we're just going to cut these people off from your life. They're not going to bring you into the kingdom, you know. And then I found the godly community that I'm in now, and he has like completely changed my whole family, and to the point where like my mum and my dad are like people that like I wouldn't have even recognized at that time. Like they don't fight anymore. Like the Lord has radically transformed their life. And my dad used to be like a smoker, and then he was a vapor, and now he's not a smoker or a vapor. They don't drink alcohol. Like they used to get drunk every weekend, now they don't. And that's purely like since giving my life to the Lord and really praying and believing for like what his will is for my life. And like he's just flipped it upside down. Even just like my mum's mental health, like she struggled a lot like growing up, and she's completely like just a new human, you know. They're reading their Bibles, they're in connect groups. Like I would have laughed if you had told me that 3-4 years ago. And even just for myself, like I have no anxiety anymore. Like I used to, like I said, struggle with crippling anxiety, and I've just been completely delivered from that. I drive now, like I got my license, like overcame that fear. I'm not fearful of, you know, like the enemy's power, because I know God's power is so much greater. And I can, like, I just feel like I can walk into any place now and just confidently be a child of God, whereas before I was just crippled. Like I no longer seek validation from guys. I don't worry about what they're going to think of me. I know that my identity is found in him. Like I deleted Tinder, I deleted all of like the silly dating apps, and I said to the Lord, like, I'm not going to talk to any guy unless it is like who he has for me. And there were times like where there was temptation, and where I would step into that temptation and then have to repent and be like, okay, Lord, like that's not the life that I live anymore. That's not where I want to be, because we're so used to that lifestyle that we were living. And even to the point where now it's like I love seeing people be delivered from demonic spirits, because I know that that is freedom for them. Whereas back then, like that stuff scared me so much. I was like, oh, that's weird. A lot of people that knew me back then would say that they wouldn't recognize who I am now. You know, my sister and I, like our relationship was not good back then. I would like run around chasing her with knives and like weird stuff. But now like we're best friends, and it's really because of what the Lord has done in me, and the fact that he showed me what love is, and like real, true, godly love. And from that, and from having that relationship with him, like it flows out of me.
It's amazing to hear